How y'all doing?
Good. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing great.
Nick, for scrimmage over the weekend, what did you like out of the D-line, and what do you think needs to be improved coming out of that?
I really appreciate the effort from the guys. Try to play hard and do what we were asking of them. We just got to continue to get better. We got to study our calls. We got to run to the ball. We got to live up to the standard, and that's dart. We got to be extremely detailed. We got to be accountable in everything we do. We got to be relentless, and lastly, we got to be tough. And I think if you live your life like that, like Coach Fran says, you'll be successful no matter what it is you do in life. You know? So,
Coach, what's it like being a part of this coaching staff?
it's amazing. I'm extremely happy. My wife called me the other day and she was like, "You're having so much fun. You're so happy. I got my weight back. I'm eating good. I'm so blessed and happy to be here." I work with a lot of great men, hard workers. Coach Fran is probably the hardest worker. Coach Fran and Coach Elijah, they're probably the hardest workers I've ever been around. So my work ethic is definitely improving. It's late nights and early mornings. So the only downfall is I don't get a chance to see my family, but they'll be moving up in June, my wife and my baby. So that's the only thing I look forward to. But in the meantime, I'm having a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
What's been the biggest focus with that edge group this spring, either like skill-wise or anything like that?
Being disciplined and affecting the quarterback. Now we got to strike blockers and stop the run. That's number one. But affecting the quarterback and getting sacks and putting pressure on that guy standing back there. And I think that's been the main focus. And these guys have embraced it. We got really good players. Fidel Diggs is a phenomenal leader. And guys are coming along, Chase and Dennis and Hastings and even the young guys, King and Jihad. I'm really happy, and David O. We're all just holding each other to a standard, and they're holding me to a standard. They know I love what I do. I'm really passionate about it. And one thing I learned, one thing Coach Prime told me one time that stuck with me is, your guys are going to act just like you. They're going to reciprocate your personality. So this is all I got. This is all I can do is coach ball and be around these young guys. So I take advantage of every day, and I'm extremely blessed when I wake up in the morning and I take advantage. I don't let a day slip, and I'm gonna give it my all. And that's what the edge guys are giving me. They're giving me their all. That's all I can ask.
Coach, what's your approach to recruiting? I know you can't talk about specific guys, but just generally, what's
approach to recruit? Building organic, realistic relationships. Just being real. These young boys, they know the difference from real and fake. And I'm just myself. I'm around two of the best, if not the best in the country, and Coach E and Coach Fran. And a lot of great recruiters on the offensive side, and I kind of learned from those guys. But I'm just myself. You know, most of the time, more times than not, the guys like me. We listen to the same music, we speak the same language. I'm only 33, so I don't think I'm too old. You know, I'm kind of still young. I feel young. Coach Fran makes us work out 3 times a week, which I love, so I'm in the weight room, and I kind of keep that energy going. The kids like high motor, high energy guys. You know, how am I ask my guys to run to the ball and I'm not running to the ball? That just doesn't make sense to me. So I try to build organic relationships. Yeah.
Going back to that idea that your players emulate who you are, and that's what Fran wants to see. Is there a moment from this spring where you were interacting with a guy and you're like, oh, he's picked up on who I am and he's kind of doing that now?
Absolutely. It's crazy you asked. Fidel Diggs, he had 3 rushes back to back, and it's called pass rush math. So you want to like throw pitches like you're in a baseball game, and one move he rushed off the edge with speed and he beat the guy. The next move he went speed to power and beat the guy. The very next move he worked chop spin and countered inside. So he worked 3 different moves, and it showed his toolbox, his versatility in rushing the passer. And that's kind of who I am. I like to teach the same things different ways for different guys to learn. You know, I don't coach guys the same. They're all different. They look different. Their arms are longer. Some guys are taller. Some guys are shorter. So I think that moment reciprocated who I was as a coach, just between me and him. You know.
How do you balance that in practice, like having to adapt to so many different types of players but still teach them the same core things?
Yeah, you get to know them off the field. I mean, football is just what they do. It's not who they are. I got a great relationship with all my guys off the field, and once I learn what make them tick, what what makes them happy, what makes them angry, what's their why, like why do they do what they do, and that happens off the field. The football part, that piece is easy, but the difficult part is like getting to know them off the grass, and that's what I take pride in. Yes, ma'am.
Who are some of the offensive linemen that give you guys trouble during practice?
Shoot, all of them.
Yeah.
They're all really coached well. Coach Dale is, he's intense. He scared me sometimes. But they're all really, really good. They have a great coach, and they reciprocate with Coach Dale. So we got to come with our A game every day. We can't take any days off. These guys are going to punch us in the chest, and they're going to move us off the ball if we're not ready to go. So just getting them ready to go every day, because this O-line is physical.
Coach, we've heard it mentioned a few times this spring that you guys, the coaching staff, are doing the workouts like you mentioned. What does that look like? You said 3 times a week. You guys in there before the guys, with the guys?
Oh, we're up early. Oh, early in the morning now, like 5:30. Early. Some guys work out at lunch. Some guys work out in the afternoon, but I'm more of an early morning guy. I need to get in and get going, but this is my first place where a head coach has made it mandatory, and I love it. My wife loves it too.
Take 2 more for Nick.
Coach, what was that initial conversation like with Fran Brown to join the staff, and what led your decision to come up here to Syracuse?
Man, it was like deja vu, because I met him in getting off the train in Atlanta. I was getting on and he was getting off, and I was like, man, I recognized immediately who he was. So I walked with him for about 30 minutes, and I just talked to him and said, man, you Fran Brown, I heard a lot about you. Everyone says I'm just like you. And he talked to me and gave me some words of encouragement. And immediately after that conversation, I'm like, man, this dude's gonna be a head coach. He was just special. You could just feel it, his energy. And I wrote it down on my short-term and long-term goals. I wanted to work for him, just like I want to work for Coach E one day when he's a head coach. But it's crazy. Two years later, he gave me a call, and it was like, wow. I kind of manifested it, and I look up to those guys. I admire them, especially coming from where they come from, and to accomplish what they've accomplished. It's pretty remarkable, but it's been a blessing. I look up to him, and he get on me, and I appreciate that. My dad told me, when people don't say anything to you or correct you, they really don't care about you. Coach Fran, he corrects me all the time, and he wants me to be a better coach, and I appreciate that from him, but it's a blessing working for him.
Coach, being a former D lineman, I know how a position coach can empower you. So you're talking about customizing guys' rush plans based on their strengths and their body types. So what does that look like for you in terms of maximizing the guy's strength and the body types, but also trying to get them to develop new skill sets?
Yeah, well, you want to go off who they are. You don't want to ask them to do things they're not capable of doing. So some guys have a toolbox. They're really good at a variety of different things, and some guys just are really good at 1 or 2 things. So you maximize their strengths, but also attack the weaknesses as well. But you just have to get to know them. You got to be all in and on each guy. You got to spend time with them, and that's what I try to do, is spend a lot of time with my guys collectively and individually. So we just get out here and if you're gonna mess up full speed. We can get that corrected. It's when you're not running to the ball or doing things with a sense of urgency is when I have a problem with it. But for the most part, we all do that. So I hope I answered that question. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.